All right, Trump supporters, come and get me. Hey, listen, your beloved Fox News has already reported that Donald Trump's tariffs was put in illegally and unlawfully. What do you expect at this point? I mean, do you really sit here and think that we're thriving? Somebody told me that one time, that we were going to thrive under this administration, and I kind of chuckled like, you really don't know what you're getting into, bud. But hey, listen, that's not up for me. Each his own. But listen, Donald Trump is continuing to be a crooked human being, as we all know he is. And then also, even they reported that he is on the Jeffrey Epstein list, which is why Pam Bondi will not release the documents. I don't understand what you people are missing. Am I living on a different planet than you? Am I an alien and you guys are like human beings, or vice versa? Like, do you not see the same fucking thing I see? Do you not read the same things that I read? How about watch the same things that I watch? And again, even though you don't believe it, Fox News is reporting on it, and y'all just love your Fox. So hey, listen, don't take my word for it. Go YouTube it and research it for yourself, and you'll see it. If you're a MAGA, you got a problem with this. It's not me, bud, it's you.
The U.S. Court of Appeals just ruled that the tariffs Trump has been imposing, the retaliatory tariffs, have been ruled illegal. Trump's tariffs have now been ruled illegal. This means that if that ruling is held up and not appealed by the Supreme Court, Trump has to potentially pay back billions of dollars of lost revenue to these countries and companies due to his tariffs. Trump's entire economic plan just got shut down.
Massive court ruling just dropped in as one of the biggest blows to Trump's trade agenda yet. A federal appeals court just ruled that most of Trump's tariffs that were placed globally were unconstitutional. It also was ruled that it was illegal. Why? Because the judges say that Trump went beyond his power. The Constitution gives Congress the authority to set taxes and tariffs, not the president using emergency powers. And here's the kicker, those tariffs are still in place. The court froze things until October, giving Trump the chance to fight this in the Supreme Court. But if the ruling stands, we're talking of a total dismantling of Trump's trade policy. This will affect a lot, with how much we trade on imports, to relationships like countries with China and Europe, to even how much power a president really has. You see, Trump's strategy over the past, months has been saying he can stop wars just by his tariffs. That is exactly how Trump said he stopped 7 wars so far in his term. It's just by tariffs. Now, Trump went on his Truth Social and called this ruling a total disaster for America. But the courts made it clear, the president doesn't get to rewrite the rules on his own.
Most of President Trump's global sweeping tariffs put in place back in April were put there illegally, according to a federal appeals court. In a 7-4 decision, a federal appellate court now has upheld a lower court's ruling that these tariffs were put in place illegally. The key issue at the heart of this, as a reminder, was the president utilizing IEPA. This is an Emergency Powers Act, and the court ruling here indicates that there was not an emergency. There was no emergency situation happening that required these tariffs to get put in place. But tariff uncertainty is far from over. The ruling doesn't go into effect until October 14th, so these tariffs are here to stay until then. So this doesn't apply to sector-specific tariffs, so the president could easily pursue tariffs on various things from furniture to lumber to pharmaceuticals to semiconductors. I'm a markets reporter, so I focus on the impact to the stock market, and that's going to be hugely important for investors in terms of looking at different stocks you're exposed to or the sectors that could be impacted by these sector-specific tariffs that are likely to come down the pike here. Also, obviously, the Trump administration is going to appeal this ruling. My sources tonight are telling me they expect this to go to the Supreme Court. They also expect the president to essentially put pressure on members of the Supreme Court to side with him on this. If they do, of course, these tariffs that are currently in place on all of these different countries around the globe would then stay in place. But bottom line, a source told me tonight that it's going to take at minimum 6 months for all of this uncertainty to get sorted out, and that is a huge headwind for investors. This source also told me that's going to make the Federal Reserve's job a lot harder because we already don't know the totality of how tariffs are going to impact inflation, and this will only make that uncertainty more long-lasting.
In a huge blow to the Trump administration, a federal appeals court has ruled the tariff agenda by President Trump as illegal. Now let's get into it, guys. A federal appeals court knocks down Donald Trump's tariffs, calling them illegal, a supposed huge blow to the United States. But wait, guys, there's a lot more. Now, the court may have ruled against President Trump's authority using the Emergency Powers Act, but they gave the Trump administration until October 14th before anything changes, and that window is critical. It gives the administration the time needed to push this case into an emergency hearing in the Supreme Court. And let's be clear, once it lands there, we know where this is headed. The Supreme Court can cement Trump's tariffs as fully legal, locking them into place and shutting down any future attempt to contest them. So while the media will spin this as a defeat, in reality, this could be a setup for the biggest win yet for America, a permanent legal foundation for Trump's trade strategy that Democrats will not be able to undo.
News, a huge defeat today for Donald Trump. The U.S. Court of Appeals rules that his tariff policy is basically illegal. What? Donald Trump's tariffs policy is illegal? Yes, they ruled this in a vote 7-4. This also upholds an earlier court ruling from New York that basically ruled the same thing. They basically say Trump's tariffs that he's placed on most of the foreign countries are illegal, and that the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the IEEPA from 1977, did not grant the president unlimited powers to impose taxes on imports, period. Again, the power of the purse is always from Congress and always to Congress. The president doesn't have it. And Trump is so upset about it. He called this decision a total disaster. It is a total disaster for you because guess what? If this holds up, all these tariffs that are collected, it appears, are going to have to be paid back. What? The White House, Donald Trump, is going to have to come up with billions of dollars to pay back the importing companies. And technically, the tariffs really need to go back to the individuals within the United States that actually paid for it, because these higher costs are passed along to us. So I don't know how they'll ever do that, but it's a big mess. And right now, they have until October 14th to appeal it to the Supreme Court. And even if it does go to the Supreme Court, which it probably will, the law is not on Donald Trump's side. The way the law is worded, Congress has this power. This power is not granted to the president for unlimited powers as he's used it. There you have it. Love you, my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, my burned out light bulbs. Let me know what you think. A major defeat for Trump on his tariff policy. He's not happy. I bet that wall in the White House is covered in ketchup.
Donald Trump has just lost a major court case in the United States, and it has profound implications for every country in the world and potentially catastrophic implications for Donald Trump's agenda and his big, beautiful bill. It is Friday the 29th of August, and the International Trade Court in the United States has just handed down a judgment deeming Donald Trump's tariffs to be unlawful. This is the second time that Donald Trump has lost in the courts concerning his ability to apply tariffs. He's already indicated that his administration will appeal this judgment all the way to the Supreme Court, but it's also highly probable that the Supreme Court will uphold this judgment from the lower courts, because the law is plain and categorical that the only entity with the power and the mandate to impose tariffs is Congress. This judgment from the lower courts vindicates the approach taken by Mark Carney, which is essentially an approach of patience, because there is no value for Canada in signing a trade deal with the United States until such times as all of these legal avenues have been exhausted in the United States, because ultimately, in the end, I think the judgment will be that Donald Trump cannot apply tariffs. Good for the rest of the world and good for Canada.
So a little bit of breaking news. So a federal appeals court has ruled just a little while ago that Donald Trump's tariffs on countries around the world are in fact illegal, that he did not have the authority to do so, put these tariffs on, and that by doing so, he's actually broken the Constitution of the United States of America. Folks, this is a developing story. I can imagine what's going to happen. Probably nothing. He ignores the law constantly, and he will just continue to break the law, and also just put the Constitution of the United States of America look terrible as usual. Folks, let me know what you think about this in the comments. The source for this is CNN Business.
This is massive and breaking news. The U.S. Appeals Court just stated that the tariffs imposed by Donald Trump, they gotta go. It was ruled that they are illegal. In fact, they upheld an earlier ruling that the U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs on Canada and other countries under national emergency powers were imposed illegally. The tariffs still stand today, and they will be removed October 14th to allow the Trump administration to appeal this to the U.S. Supreme Court. And for those who don't know, the U.S. trade wars that we're having, it pushed Canada into recessionary territory. Our GDP has shrunk as a result of it. What is unbelievable in all of this is Mark Carney went from elbows up to retaliating on the tariffs to dropping everything, dropping the digital services tax, to then telling us that we have the best possible deal out of any country in the world, only to be saved by the U.S. court system. Wasn't Mark Carney, wasn't anything the liberals did. It was the U.S. judicial system. Unbelievable.
But we do have breaking news. A federal appellate court has rejected all of Donald Trump's tariffs. They are illegal and unconstitutional. This decision delivers a blow to the central prong of the president's economic agenda. Wow, that's some unfortunate wording. Blowing Donald Trump's central prong. Levies the tariffs are going to remain in place pending further proceedings. The only place left to go is the Supreme Court. Explicitly in the Constitution, the president does not have the power to levy tariffs on anybody. But there's a 1977 law known as the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. So Donald Trump just says there's an economic emergency, and so now I have the right to put tariffs on every country on the planet. And then he just went ahead and did that. Reading from the Wall Street Journal, a federal appeals court late Friday struck down the Trump administration's signature tariffs, finding that the president had gone too far in his use of emergency powers to rewrite U.S. trade policy. The 7-4 ruling from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit upheld a lower court decision that undercuts a core tenet of Trump's economic agenda. So I am reading from the Wall Street Journal. It doesn't undercut a core tenet of President Trump's economic agenda. It said you're not allowed to do tariffs, period. That's his economic agenda. Okay, the court's majority found the president overstepped his authority under the 1977 law known as the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. The decision is the biggest blow yet to one of Trump's signature policies in his second term. Now it goes to the Supreme Court, which I'm sure will just let him do whatever the hell he wants to do, probably without issuing an opinion. They'll probably do it on the shadow docket. Donald Trump railed against the decision in a post on Truth Social, typing in all caps, "All tariffs are still in effect." Well, the court's ruling was stayed pending an appeal to the Supreme Court. Today, a highly partisan appeals court, yes, 11 appellate court judges, all 11 of them are highly partisan, incorrectly said that our tariffs should be removed, but they know the United States of America will win in the end. That doesn't even make any fucking sense. The judges said that the tariffs should be removed, but those same judges know that the United States of America will win in the end. The only thing that's dumber than that, what Donald Trump wrote there, is that pretty much every single person in the United States of America who voted for him is also stupid enough to believe that. Yeah. They are the absolute stupidest segment of society that this country has ever been saddled with. But, whatever. Donald Trump imposed tariffs on virtually every U.S. trading partner in April, including an island that is populated only by penguins, if I remember correctly. In an April event that he labeled Liberation Day, setting off days of stock market chaos and uproar from foreign governments that prompted Trump to go taco and pause everything. Taco, Trump always chickens out. So anyway, this is a significant decision because it adheres to the rule of law in the Constitution, as does the lower court's decision that this decision, the appellate decision, affirmed. So now we will go to the United States Supreme Court, which doesn't give a fuck about anything anymore other than let Donald Trump do whatever Donald Trump wants to do. That is the position of the conservative majority and the institutionalist, John Roberts, who cares about the institution of the Supreme Court, so much so that he completely invented out of whole cloth the idea of presidential immunity from criminal prosecution for acts committed while in office. They just made that shit up, 100%. So anyway, that's where we're at today. The Federal Court of Appeals has said that Donald Trump's tariffs, every single one of them, is illegal and unconstitutional. So, and that put Donald Trump into a bad mood, which caused him to immediately shit his pants and requiring a diaper change. I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. It's about 4 p.m. West Coast time. Please, please, please be safe this weekend. If you're going protesting, I know there's a bunch of protests on Monday, Labor Day. Be safe this weekend and don't talk to the cops unless you're yelling at them. And then if you are yelling at the cops at a protest, I've come up with 2 lines that I want to yell at ICE officers, but I haven't seen any. I want to yell at them, do you want me to say hi to your mom later on? And then I want to yell, hey officer, how's your wife and my kids? You guys go out and use those this weekend. If you use those lines, just film it, put it on TikTok, and tag me in that. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Hey, folks, this is a short 60-second video, but it turns out that the Federal Appeals Court ruled Friday today that most of President Donald Trump's global tariffs are illegal, striking a massive blow to the core of his aggressive trade policy. That is from CNBC, by the way. It literally just dropped like 2-3 minutes ago. Panel 3 judges for the federal court or federal circuit ruled that the law Trump invoked when he granted his most